Welcome to Middle-Aged Mavericks. In this episode, I build a compost pile for free with supplies laying around that we have. Not new to living in the country. I used to have a dairy goat farm and a large garden and chickens and chickens and ducks and turkeys and a cow, and we had a pig at one time. So I'm not new to the country life. I moved back to the city for a little while, and then we're moving back out to the country. So this compost pile is how I had my compost pile before. My hair has wings. Compost pile before. It's really simple. It doesn't require anything purchased. If you have built a fence, you probably have some fencing lying around. Or extra posts like I'm using. We had 2 extra round posts that I'm using. And if you have trees, like a ton of trees that we have, you can find posts that'll work for the compost pile. I will show you how I build it, and I hope you enjoy watching this. It's really simple, and I'll show you how I build the door and then what my plans are to use it. Just remember, when you build a compost pile, that it needs to have air. It needs to have moisture. You need to be able to stir it, and then you need to be able to access it. So you want to make sure it's something that you can do all those things. Sunlight helps too, because it should dry out and have periods of moisture and dry out so that it breaks down. Bugs and insects are great for it. You'll find that if your compost pile is really good, you'll have grubs and worms and all sorts of things growing, living in it. And then when you put, and this has happened before, we're a family that likes mangoes and avocados. We'd throw the avocado pits, and then soon we'd have an avocado tree growing out of the compost pile. So those are all good signs. That means that the nutrients are very good in there. And then you get to use it. It takes 6 months to a year, depending on your weather, how often you stir it, what you put in there. But then you'll be able to get at the actual compost, which then you can return to your garden. So when you grow your fruits and vegetables, or just vegetables. So hope you enjoy this video. And if you do, give us a thumbs up, like, and subscribe. Thanks for watching. So we left San Antonio, and a cold front had just blown in because we'd had some rain, and it was cool. So we're thinking, okay, drive for an hour. It's still gonna be cool, but it's not. It is warm, and I have a feeling it's gonna get warmer. So I'm looking at where I put the tarp down for my garden, and if you notice, big part of it is shaded. So I'm thinking I'm gonna move it further this direction so that it is in the sun, it gets full sun. I have to look for a post, 2 posts, to make as corner posts for my compost pile, because I'm gonna build a compost pile and fill it with some of the tree leaves and grass that I dig up around my garden. So we have a bazillion trees, and many are down. So I just need to go out and look for a couple of straight trees. This is the tree that we pulled down in the last weekend, and it is pretty straight. So I'm thinking I could make a couple posts out of it. There's even that branch right there that looks pretty good too. why are you using such big logs? And my thought is that they'll last longer and they're stronger, but they're so heavy. So after we hauled these heavy logs over here, I went and found 2 smaller pieces that are easily lifted that I'll use in addition to our round posts that we have left over from building the fence. And so what I'm doing is I'm building a compost pile. And the reason I'm doing that first is, one, when I dig up the grass covering the garden, I want to put it in the compost pile. And 2, they take a long time. You know, it doesn't happen overnight. The way I've always done it, I don't use a barrel, I don't use anything fancy. I simply wall off a little area and then I fill it as we use stuff, and stir it frequently. You know, if we don't have rain, I'll water it, but generally it rains enough to keep it moist. So that's what you want to do with the compost. It has to be moist, and you have to be able to stir it and move the stuff around in it. And then of course it has to be accessible so that you can get your compost out of it. So I've met those 3 goals with what I'm going to build, and I'll show you what I'm doing next. I'm not sure how long that post is going to last. It was laying on the ground. It's very light, very dried out, but I'm going to use it anyway because it is just a compost pile. We're not keeping large animals in or large animals out. Hopefully the dogs won't bother it, but they probably will. We'll find that out as we go. But yeah, I think that post might have to be replaced eventually, but we'll just figure it out as we go. Technically speaking, you don't need a fence around your compost, but if you have animals like I do, you don't want your animals digging around in it and getting out whatever you want composted. So I can foresee that happening. I've seen it happen in the past, so that's why I build a fence around it. And so this will be the opening here, and I'll be able to dump stuff in there. Just 4 posts and some old fencing. And then I just latched the opening with some carabiners that I can easily remove to open the door. And that'll be it. Well, that's it for this video. I want to thank you for watching. And if you have anything to add about compost piles, I'm always eager to learn new things. So leave a comment in the comment section, and thank you for watching again, and I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please give us a big thumbs up and subscribe to the channel, and we'll see you next weekend.